Are you sick of spending hours nesting parts? You've already designed it. It should be easy to nest it, right? Wrong. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to utilize softwares that are available to us today to make our lives a million times easier and to save you thousands time, material, and labor. And here's how. Hey guys, this is Jeremy from APR Welding Academy. In today's video, I want to show you the real difference in this new software we've been trying out. Um, I've already made a couple videos of this software explaining how much of a game changer it's been for us down in the shop, specifically with our Waterjet. Now, even though we are a welding academy, which means like we're a college, we're a private career college, um, we still like to take on little jobs here and there, and we do create products utilizing some of the amazing tools we have down in the shop. Um, so when we're doing these jobs, sometimes we get into these monotonous tasks that um, there really should be a more efficient way of doing. And one of those tasks for me has been nesting. So nesting, when I'm trying to create these products, has been a challenge to say the least. I used to have what software for my plasma table, and it was called FlashCut. It was on the software for my FabCut plasma table that we had before, and it actually did a pretty good job of efficiently nesting parts. Now, it wasn't perfect, but it did a pretty good job, right? So when we got the Waterjet, I assumed being more expensive, fancier equipment, it would have a nice software within it to at least somewhat efficiently nest parts. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. They did have some kinds of software at some point in time, which I believe they called Flow Nest, which our Waterjet is a Flow Waterjet. However, it wasn't capable of working with the 5-axis part of our software because we did get the 5-axis table. However, not only that, they just don't give the software when you get the Waterjet anymore. And when I asked about it, they said it really wasn't worth getting. Not sure why, but that was kind of the answer we got. So fast forwarding about a year, we've had the Waterjet for about a year now, and I was pretty diligently looking for a solution for these problems we were having. Uh, and very randomly, I came across a software called IGEMS. Now, it was actually a really funny post, and I'll try to find that for you guys in today's video. But it was essentially just one sentence on one of the Waterjet forums I had followed on Facebook, and it said, "The cat is out of the bag," with a link to iGems. Now, it was like midnight. I'm laying in bed scrolling, and I seen this. So I was like, huh, wonder what that is. Click on it, end up finding iGems. So after I did some digging into it, I was like, wow, this looks like crazy good software. Wonder if it's as good as it seems, right? So I ended up chatting with them. I did a demo with them, and I was quite impressed, to say the least. It did look super easy to use, to nest, super quick. Didn't seem laggy, like I'm about to show you. When you're even trying to manually nest in Flow Expert, it's really not ideal. So I gave it a shot. I tried I think it was a 30-day trial or a 2-week trial, something like that. And after I did that, I was blown away. It was honestly the amount I had learned how to do in that software within such a short period of time. I was already finding myself relying on that software before I had even owned the software. So I'm here to show you the real difference that I have seen specifically with nesting from Flow compared to iGems. So this is today's video. Stay tuned. All right, so we're going to start with nesting a couple parts. So this is one of those products I was talking about that we make. Now, I enjoy creating products that are around the things I enjoy with my life. So four-wheeling, side-by-sides, snowmobiles, outdoors with motors. These are the things I like to do. this is one of the products that I had a friend of mine come to me and ask me to make. This is a guy I used to work with in Oklahoma Steel. And he kind of brought me this idea and said, what do you think you could do with this? So we kind of put our heads together and figured out exactly what we kind of wanted this product to do. And then we gave it some spice, and now we're actually going to be selling these products. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to manually nest these parts. So you'll see I have a left and a right in this guy here. So out of this left and right, I need to see how many I could fit on a sheet, which isn't going to be super efficient. It's going to be very laggy. I'm going to be pulling my hair out the whole time because I would rather use IGEMS for this specific thing, this task. But regardless, here it is. So I spent about 23 minutes trying to create a nest of these two parts, and it actually got to the point where it froze and wasn't doing anything. I couldn't actually get it to nest at all. Even the simple commands within the software were lagging majorly, causing it to not actually allow me to create the nest that I wanted. So what I ended up doing was creating a nest utilizing another part, a more simple part that we are also using as a product. So here's that instead as a comparison. So as you can see, this went a lot smoother. It was still painful compared to what you're about to see us do in iGEMS. However, it wasn't just lagging and freezing the actual software. It was more just time consuming to figure out what was the best possible nesting and equal spacing all the parts, all that stuff. So here is all of that. Nobody has this much time. If you're a shop, there is no way that you should be spending this much time to take something you've already optimized and designed and multiply it by, I don't know, let's say a couple hundred. It's pretty basic stuff, right? And that basic stuff shouldn't be taking you hours because it will eat your profit completely to nothing. The amount of time, if I was actually charging for a job like this, the amount of time that this actually takes, you'd already pay for a month of this software. So weigh your options. Is your time worth more, or is your time worth less? If your time's worth less and you're spending this, let's say you're a hobby shop, I could see it. But even then, this is frustrating. And I have a feeling it's going to give me an issue at the end of this as well. I can't wait to show you guys what the iGEMS is like, because it won't be even a fraction of the time it took us to do this. It really won't. Like, it is going to do this so fast, and it'll be a more efficient cut path. The cut path itself on iGEMS is going to be absolutely optimized for what we're doing. Meaning I'm probably going to use common cut lines where I can. I'm not even sure what it's doing anymore. iGEMS, I truly don't know what I would do without you. You see, as a welding school that completely is revolved around welding and fabrication, everything that I teach my students is typically the best way of doing things. Now, don't get me wrong, we learn every day, we learn new software, we learn new this, we learn new that. And of course, the students also need to learn how to do things the old fashioned way or the old school way or the more manual way rather than a CNC way of doing things. However, I also want to show them that there's easier ways of doing things. There's almost always an easier way of doing things. There might even be a better way of doing what I'm doing in this software specifically. Now, I haven't found it yet. However, there is always a better way of doing something. Now, it might be more expensive, but quicker. It might be more efficient and cheaper, which is always the most optimal way. But there's always, a pro and a con to doing something faster or better or cleaner or more consistent. These are all the things that we work with as tradespeople in general. Now, getting back to this software, don't get me wrong, I do show people how to do things the more manual way, right? The less automated way. But I also show them how to do it the fastest possible way. And that's part of the whole flow infinity to, or the flow expert to the IGEMS, right? There's the way of doing things with the software you have without spending extra money, but there's also a much, much more efficient way of doing it. And this is pretty specific to waterjet cutting. IGEMS can also be used for plasma cutting. I know I have talked to them about that as well. This is crazy. These are very basic parts. I don't think it gets much more basic than this. A square part with rounded corners and 4 holes. It is still 4,659 curves, but I don't even know if this is going to end up working. Okay, well, it has been about half an hour of trying to path this part. I think I'm just going to call it quits while we're ahead. Clearly, this isn't even capable of doing such a basic thing on Flow Infinity. So we're just going to end this task. We're going to pull up our IGEMS magical software and see how long the same thing takes. Okay, so as you can see, same hat patch, same thing that we are going to be nesting. We're going to go into CAM, draw ourselves a 96,48 sheet. We're going to modify that sheet to be a collar width of 0.125, same as we did the other way, but we did it manually. We're going to first we got to create this part. Before anything, I always like to analyze, just double check, make sure there's no errors, which, boom, no errors, that's good. I'm going to go back to CAM. We're going to be using a 0.04 toolpath geometry. Yes, that is okay. Okay, auto nest, select our part, select our sheet. Fit somewhere around 1,000 of those. We are going to do it the same way we did it the other way, 0.0625. That's what I did with that little line, and I kept copying and pasting it to do it quicker. We're going to nest that. So far it's saying 944 parts. Let's see if it can get a little bit more tighter than that. I don't think it can, though. That's pretty darn good. It's filling 92.78% of that sheet. That's pretty crazy. That's very minimal waste. We'll go with that. Let's just check these other ones, see if they look prettier. Something about having a nicely optimized sheet. I'm going to go with that one. Let's just check this one real quick. Actually, that one is better. Okay. There's all of our parts nested. Now all we got to do, so in your toolpath, you could select kind of what you want. I think I want all direct, 0.05, 0.04 for the lead out, 90 degree, overcut, 0.05. What is 0 again? Oops. Yes, that is good. We can actually probably make this 0.05 and this, no, we don't want dynamic, 0.06. we go. Let's do that. It's working. Boom. Look at that. Look how quick and efficient that is. Everything looks good. We can do a quick preview by going to process, hitting enter. After you hit enter, it'll bring up this little screen. Then you can select to do a 2D preview. There we go. Boom. So 2D simulate, sorry. Yes, 0.04 is our tool radius. Working, working, working. Oops. I just realized I haven't even closed down Space Claim, which on my computer is actually Flow Infinity, which could potentially be slowing IGEMS down, but it's still 100 times quicker. Like, this is crazy. It's been like, what, 2 minutes? I spent 2 hours doing the other one. Well, sorry, I spent 45 minutes doing the other one. So it's just taking a minute to load up the simulation, which we don't even actually need to do. We're only going to do that just to check a couple little quick things. We could have done this in the flow cut. I will give it this. It is a lot of parts. 900, what was it? 944 parts. That's a pretty respectable amount of parts on one sheet. I have a 4x8 sheet with a 1/8 color. But it's doing it. We already technically have our cut path. We could have already accepted it, spit it out to the machine, and tested this part down there. But I'm going to show you just how good this program actually is. And this was out without even using command line cutting. What a random, I mean, pretty random, but I guess there's a reason for it. It must be the fastest way it's going to do it. Look at that. Okay, so this is just a basic way of doing this. I'm just going to save this as it is. I'm going to show you why. I'm just going to make this a new file, and we're going to call it under products. We're just going to call it IGEMS testing. Okay. So that will save the test 1. Now we're going to optimize the actual cut path it takes. We're going to use bridging and command line cutting to see how much time we could save there. And material. So what I'm going to do this time, put our 0.125 shoulder in there. We need to create this part. Boom. 4, boom. Now I need to nest it here. .0625. external corner and alternative off, dynamic off 0.05, 0.04, saved. So this should all be just my circles. There we go. And then we're going to go and bridge everything else. 0.01 is actually pretty good. The look at how fast that is. Let's check out these bridges. Close. Hell yeah, look how cool that is. So basically what this does, it saves a ton of time with piercing every single hole. It cuts all of the holes first, and then it starts with one pierce line on the exterior of all of the cuts, and it bridges it. So you don't have to wait and pierce. And that's usually when your machine clogs and stuff as well. So let's check this one. So I'll just show you a preview first, same way we did it before. Well, it seems like my microphone died while I was doing this part. I didn't notice until I was actually editing the video. So now you could see all the bridging. It's connecting all the parts together. It does all the holes first, and then it does all the outside cuts. So you could see in slow motion here how it's going and connecting all the parts together with these little bridges. That is a massive time saver. Depending on what kind of parts you're doing, it might not work, but it does save a ton of time when connecting all these parts together and not having pierce holes in every single one. You're waiting for the dwell times and all that every single cut. So this saves a ton of time when talking about nesting parts. So there you have it, guys. This is a solid comparison between Flow Expert and IGEMS as far as nesting goes. If today's video was helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe to follow us on our channel.